This is from Eli in Arizona. I think Thanksgiving stopped meaning anything to me a long time ago. I used to spend it watching other people post family photos while I microwaved leftovers. No drama, no noise, just me and a quiet apartment. Honestly, it felt easier that way. You can't feel disappointed if you don't expect anything, right? A few days before Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed with a random text. Dinner at my house at 3. Don't be late, grandson. At first, I thought it was a scam or some kind of group message mistake, but something about it felt personal, like the person really meant it. I actually laughed. Who just invites people like that these days? I replied, "Who is this?" and got a message right back. "Your grandma. You know I always cook too much." I stared at the screen. The number had a local area code, but I didn't know any grandmas in Arizona. It felt weirdly sincere, like someone's real grandmother had just texted me by accident, or fate. So I texted, "I think you have the wrong number." A few seconds later, she replied, "Oh, that's okay, sweetheart. You can still come by. Grandmas feed everyone." I just froze, rereading that line. It was so simple and kind. Most people ignore wrong numbers. She was offering food. I showed the text to a friend later and joked, should I actually go? They told me it was crazy. But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why did it feel like something I shouldn't ignore? Maybe because deep down, I knew how lonely holidays could be. By Thanksgiving morning, curiosity had won. I got in my car, typed the address into maps, and just drove. Part of me was sure it'd be awkward or even unsafe. But another part, the quiet one that missed being around people, hoped it might be real. When I pulled up, I almost laughed. It was a normal suburban house, 2 cars in the driveway, orange leaves everywhere. I sat there for a minute, engine running, wondering if I was about to embarrass myself in front of strangers. But something told me to just knock. The door opened, and there she was. Silver hair, bright sweater, big smile. She looked surprised, but not scared. "You must be Eli," she said, as if she'd known me for years. Then she hugged me before I could say a word. I didn't even remember the last time someone hugged me like that. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon and roasted turkey. A bunch of people were already at the table. Kids laughing, adults arguing about football, someone handing me a plate before I even sat down. I kept waiting for the moment they'd realize I didn't belong, but it never came. Somewhere between the mashed potatoes and the pumpkin pie, it hit me. I hadn't felt this included in years. It didn't matter that they were strangers. For that one afternoon, I was part of something, and that realization scared me a little because I hadn't realized how much I'd missed it. Did you know? About 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. spend the holidays completely alone. Some moved away from family. Some lost touch after conflicts. Others just never got invited back. It's rarely a choice. It's usually the quiet result of distance, pride, or pain. Most people who spend holidays alone end up watching TV, scrolling online, or pretending it's just another day. But studies show that even a small act, sending a message, volunteering, or inviting someone else, can make them feel less invisible. It's simple, but powerful. I kept thinking about that as I sat there at the table. The people around me weren't perfect. They joked too loud, interrupted each other, spilled drinks, but it felt real. I couldn't remember the last time I'd heard that kind of laughter up close. The grandma, I'll call her Martha, kept sliding food onto my plate, no matter how many times I said I was full. She told stories about her grandkids, even the ones who couldn't make it. For a second, I almost forgot she wasn't actually mine. Someone asked how we knew each other. I hesitated, unsure what to say. Before I could answer, Martha smiled and said, "He's family now." Everyone just nodded like that made perfect sense. I laughed, but something inside me softened. When the meal slowed down, she leaned toward me and whispered, "You reminded me of my grandson. He couldn't come this year. It's been hard since he moved away." Her voice cracked a little. Suddenly, the mistake didn't feel random anymore. We sat in her living room afterward, drinking tea while the others cleaned up. The house felt alive. Music, chatter, that faint smell of pie crust. I told her about moving here for work, how the holidays always hit harder when you don't have anyone nearby. She listened, really listened. At one point, she said quietly, "Maybe we both needed company today." It was the simplest sentence, but it landed deep. Because she was right. I hadn't realized how badly I needed someone to say that. I helped wash dishes, laughing with her daughter about burnt rolls. It felt natural, like I'd been doing it for years. Part of me didn't want the night to end, because I knew once I left, the world would go back to being ordinary again. Before I left, Martha packed leftovers into a container and hugged me goodbye. She said, "Next year, same time?" I nodded, trying not to show how much that meant. As I walked to my car, the air felt different, softer, almost unreal. I kept thinking, how did one wrong text turn into this? The next week, Martha texted me a photo of the leftover pie and wrote, "Still saving you a slice." I laughed out loud in my kitchen. It had only been a few days, but somehow it already felt like family. I realized I wasn't counting down to the next long weekend anymore. I was looking forward to something. Over the months, we stayed in touch. Sometimes just a good morning text. Sometimes pictures of her garden or the dog she insisted I meet one day. It was the kind of connection that didn't ask for anything. It just reminded you that you mattered to someone. The following Thanksgiving, she invited me again, no hesitation. This time I brought dessert and helped set the table. There were new faces, cousins and neighbors. But somehow everyone already knew about the wrong number grandson. They welcomed me like I'd always been there. Friends kept asking, "So you really went to a stranger's house?" I'd laugh, but part of me wanted to say, "Yeah, and maybe you should too." Because sometimes life hands you a weird moment, and if you lean into it, it can change everything. Over the years, that accidental text became a tradition. Every November, I'd get the same message, "Dinner at my house at 3, don't be late." And each year, I showed up, not because I was being polite, but because it finally felt like Thanksgiving again. There's something surreal about how it all started. One random text, one act of kindness. But when I think about it now, it doesn't feel random at all. It feels like two lonely people found the exact kind of company they both needed. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd ignored that first message. Probably nothing. Another quiet day, another year slipping by. But I didn't. And that one small choice ended up rewriting a part of my life I thought was already finished. So if you ever get a message that seems out of place, maybe don't delete it right away. You never know what kind of story it might be trying to start. I learned that family isn't always the one you're born into. Sometimes it's the one that texts you by mistake. If this story reminded you of someone you've drifted away from, maybe send them a message, even a simple "Hey, how are you?" You might be surprised by what comes back. And if this made you smile, leave a comment and subscribe for more stories about the strange ways people still find each other. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.